All right, guys, if you are doing the Davis Bacon Act covered job, and for some reason when you're working on the job, you realize, hey, the wage termination does not have the labor classification you needed. Sometimes, for example, some of the wage termination only has what electrician, but other other location may not have the electrician position in there, but you do have people to work on as the electrician. Sometimes it's the labor, is a union cover. Sometimes it's not union cover. So, but at the end of the day, there's no labor category in there. So, what are we doing here? There's a process we called it's called a conformance process where you're going to submit a series of requests based on the information the contract is put based on the information, based on the requirements. The Department of Labor is actually spelled out on how to do a conformance and what information you will need it. Most of the time, a conformance can be handled via attorney. Sometimes you can just do a DIY by yourself. That's no problem at all. But today, what I'm going to go through with you is a little bit about how are you going to actually do the conformance, and if you, because there's a certain time frame is necessary to do the conformance. So during that period, how are you going to pay your people to ensure you are in compliance? Otherwise, you will be at risk of paying the penalties and the interest, which is not really what you wanted, right? So at the end of the day, it's the employer's responsibility to ensure they are paying them correctly. So this is a very, very important in this case, right? So in here, you're gonna see that this is the Davis Bacon contract stipulations, Davis Bacon conformance process, and this has not been updated for years. So this process is very standard in this case. So what we have in here, you have pre-award and after-award. So pre-award, it's so hard to anticipate, but if you have done the similar type of job in the past, then you will know what type of the type of wage termination you will be required to perform under, and the type of labor categories you could encounter, right? So this is where you can go find out most of the information about how do you do a conformance. I would say most of the times when the conformance is happening is really after the contract is awarded. It's more like a surprise. Okay, I do need to do this. So there's a form called SF 1444, which is you can download in here. There's some instructions you can go follow as well. So Davis Bacon, and whatnot. So pretty much this is the prime form you need to go through to ensure that you are fulfilling them correctly. And there's a conformance guide as well for the Davis Bacon Act. So let me open this up. The 347 file. Right, let me download this. All right, see, this is for this form. This is great. This looks like it has been updated a little bit. You will require to check either it's a service contract or construction contract. Most of the time it's construction contracts, but when it comes to a service contract, this is the form you're going to be using as well. So it's pretty straightforward. Administrator, like from which office, contractor name, day of the request. I think in here, this is a section that you probably want to pay more attention to in terms of how do you come up with the wage rate you want to pay the people, and what does it entail, because you need to put a detailed a detailed description about what this person is going to perform or will be performed at the job site, so that, and based on your evaluations, your average and whatnot, what the rate is going to be, and there's a specific formula you need to go follow. Sometimes we have seen other clients that are just using an average between the labor categories. Let's say you have electrician 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different level, and this person they're performing electrician job, but based on the Davis Bacon Act, there's no specific requirements in terms of what level they are. So it's all electrician. So in that situation, if the electrician is not part of the Davis-Bacon Act, the wage termination, you will need to submit a conformance packet. So that really, so the conformance packet will be, you can utilize which the level that person is going to be paid for the work to be performed. Let's say you have 5 different electrician level, but the pay is really high is like $10, low is $10, high is like $20. So you can, but it's just everybody in between. So what you can do a simple weight average, or simple average across 5 to see on average we are paying the electrician about this amount. So that can be used as a baseline for the electrician like electrician hourly rate. However, that may not, you will need to start to pay that rate, but does not mean that it's going to be a final rate. After reviewed by the Department of Labor, they're going to give you a suggested rate. Let's say they come back and say, hey, your wage rate is $25, is $15 is too low. We think it's like $30, and this is the reason. So you need to start to pay $30. The issue in here is you don't have to agree with them. You can say, no, it's not $30. We need to pay, it should be a 15. And then you can submit an appeal. But during that time, before you hear back from them, but from the time you submit an appeal until you hear back from them, they are not, you need to start paying on a higher rate, which is counterintuitive. It's like, I'm not really selling, why am I starting to pay the higher rate? But that's the requirement from the DOL. You need to start to pay the higher rate until it's settled. That said, there's a chance that you can overpay them, but from DOL side, you cannot really underpay them. But most of the time, if DOL is suggesting some sort of rates, they're probably going to prevail. So in that situation, you will be paying like that. So my colleague also asked me, hey, we have this we actually have this scenario going on. The client we're working with right now, they have submitted a conformance packet to the Department of Labor, as we are waiting for the Department of Labor's response. So we pay what's required and what we submitted, right? So, and in the same time, after we got the response back from Department of Labor, we said, oh, this is actually way much higher than what we proposed. So we submit an appeal, and then we started paying accordingly based on what has been required to do. Otherwise, there's a good chance we'll be incur penalties and interest. That's not the, I mean, penalty interest is okay, but at the same time, it's like you have a record saying you're not in compliance with Davis-Bacon Act. The worst case scenario, they will be debarred for future government contracting activities for at least 3 years for Davis-Bacon within a wage an hour. But it's just not really worth the risk. So that said, that's so for the conformance, you see they say, maybe we can just pull out the instruction here. This is yeah, so conformance in here, this is the standard form you need to fulfill. Some division may require a more simplified version rather than fill this form like this. They will just say, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 13 bullet points, just in an email, so that they can send it out like that, and then just say, hey, yeah or nay. By the time they approve, or by the time you hear back from them, you're gonna receive a letter about it, and they will tell you what the determination is gonna be. So that's pretty much it in terms of the conformance, and how when you are in the middle of a conformance, what rate you're supposed to pay, so that you're not really going to be dinged as a non-compliant, or there's a potential underpayments to the employees in this situation. So you can stay in compliance with Davis-Bacon or service contract. So for more questions regarding the Davis-Bacon compliance, drop a comment down below, so I may be able to help out in here and there. I would periodically check my comments in here. So until then, peace.